Hello and welcome to Lake News 22. I'm your host, Dave DeJohn. Today we'll be discussing computer-aided manufacturing, or CAM for short. With me is an expert in the field. His name is Erik Forwith. Erik has been with CAM and Machining since 2006 and has over 200 plus installations of Swiss and advanced mill-turn machines using Esprit and Mastercam. His strength is knowing customers' needs through setting up their machines and training them, often spending a week or more at their facilities, getting them and their CAM processes and CNC machines up to speed. Erik, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Where did you get your experience with CNC machining with customers?
So I started into the industry in 2006, shortly after high school. In the woodworking industry, and I did a lot of woodworking for 7 or 8 years, and then I got an opportunity to move to a natural gas company. Did a lot of metal work there, got more familiar with CNC machines and what they did, how to program them. Moved to South Carolina to work for a gun manufacturer. I was the head engineer there for about 4 years, and then I moved on to a distributor who actually worked directly with the machine company. Where I traveled around and taught people exactly what they needed to do, how to put their parts in, how to look at it from a programmer standpoint and get everything onto the machine. And now I'm fortunate enough to work with SolidCAM.
What do machine operators and programmers need most?
I would say the biggest thing that programmers and machine operators need is a CAM system that is going to give them a solution to get their product done in a newer age machine efficiently and correctly and without a lot of intervention. Previous to today's technology, it was pretty much point and click, hope that your part was going to come out good, do a lot of hand editing, a lot of educated guesswork is what I like to call it, to get to the final product. So definitely having a CAM package out there that can offer you a solid answer for a lot of the harder parts is huge.
Have there been any recent trends in the CNC machine market that are impacting manufacturers?
So a lot of the new age manufacturers want to handle their parts less. So the more complicated the part, they don't want to have to put it through 5 or 6 different machines. They want to put it in one machine, do as much work to it as needed, and then at the end they pull out a finished product that is to spec, no questions asked. So the advanced manufacturing, the advanced machining is definitely taking off. A lot of the big players in the game have either conglomerated together or separated to try to make themselves either a standalone or push the envelope of a different machine that may not necessarily be sought after. And a lot of the operators haven't kept up with the new technology. So there's a lot of young people that are getting into the industry that are just overwhelmed right off the bat. And it's just something that really needs to be addressed for this advanced machining era that we're entering into.
Wow, so there is a lack of experienced operators out there.
Oh yeah, there's definitely some good programs that are getting people up to speed somewhat, but there's definitely a huge lull of inexperienced operators that are just trained to push the green button on the machine, check a few dimensions, and set a part off to the side. So it's definitely a yin and a yang in the industry as far as people that are really talented and people that are trying to get to the level of being really talented.
All right, Erik, what have you seen in your experience at customer sites in terms of how well the CAM systems are keeping up with the machine trends?
So as the technology of the CNC machine grows and you have more advanced products coming out, a lot of the CAM systems are definitely not keeping up with the new multi-channel machines, mill-turn machines, Swiss machines. They have some support. They may have some of the pieces, but not all of the pieces. There is one software that I worked with a lot, Esprit, that did have a solution for every piece per se, but not necessarily in the best way that it could be presented to the operators or the users or the programmers at the end of the day.
Tell me a little bit more about Esprit.
So Esprit is a software I've used for about 6.5, 7 years. I've done tons of programming in it. It took me a very long time to get comfortable with the software. I'd say the better part of 2 or 3 years before I could really trust that what I was doing inside the software would relate to what was actually going to happen on the machine. It's just a huge learning curve. It does have its place. A lot of people use it. A lot of people like it. They are pushing Esprit into a new software that they call TNG. TNG is definitely going to be their future package, but there's a disconnect in the users and in the acquisition of Esprit that's kind of going to leave operators out in the wind a little bit.
Tell me about the popularity of advanced solutions.
So advanced solutions, especially in the machine tool industry in general, that is what everyone wants. They want to have the most high-tech, easiest to understand for people that don't really maybe starting in the industry or moving to a more advanced machine. But everyone wants the perfect kind of program to just give me what I want, how I want it, and if it works, it works, and if it doesn't, let's fix what doesn't work and let's move forward. That's definitely not the norm from a CAM system. Normally you get what you get and you just go with it, and that's where the new age of advanced manufacturing is really pushing the envelope as far as software is keeping up with it, because it's a huge ordeal.
That's fascinating. It really is. Your field, I just can't believe it. Were you a geek growing up?
Somewhat, but not really. I've always been good with my hands. I've always, helped my dad work on his cars and things like that. So it was just natural that when I found that I could kind of use my brain and my brawn at the same time, it became very interesting to me. And once I found out kind of the background of how CNCs work, it was just a natural move for me to make and just kind of focus my career that way.
All right, well, let's get to a meatier question right here. And this question is, in your opinion, have most of the Esprit customers switched to the new TNG version?
They actually are not switching. There are small groups of aerospace companies that have made the switch, mainly just because they've made some things easier, but not necessarily the whole package being easier. But the general census is no, people are not switching to the TNG package. One, mainly because they can't use anything that they've made before in the new software other than a visual simulation, and two, because they decided to totally change the whole format. So by them kind of redeveloping the whole system instead of just fixing the broken problems, it's going to create a lot more havoc for the end user, because they have to learn a whole new system from scratch rather than knowing kind of the base of the system and then okay, well, here's a fix for this, or maybe a new tool path or something that would help with previous problems. I'm not really sure where their mind went in that, but the general census is no, people are not willing to make that switch yet.
Tell me about no backward compatibility.
So anything that's done in an actual Esprit file, if you bring it into TNG, you can see it. You can see what has been done, but you cannot modify anything. The only thing you can do is just a visual simulation of what you already have.
TNG paint themselves into a corner?
Oh, absolutely. I think they did. They definitely took their engineer force away from Esprit to focus on getting TNG developed, and I think a lot of their users definitely lost a lot of support during that time.
Do you think Esprit sold out to Hexagon?
Oh, they definitely sold out. I think that they found that by redeveloping the wheel, they put themselves into a corner that they couldn't get out of. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong. Obviously, money talks, but for a powerhouse like that to sell out to a company, it's definitely quite questionable.
What have you seen in your experience at customer sites in terms of how well the CAM systems are keeping up with the machine trends?
So that's probably one of the biggest problems that I would run into repeatedly. A lot of people will have set machines that they do work on. They know those machines inside and out. What they're using for a CAM package is working for that, and then they go and buy an advanced mill turn or a Swiss type machine, and their CAM package just cannot do what it needs to do to make that machine function correctly. It's been a huge hurdle in the industry, and a lot of the big players in the CAM industry definitely are not keeping up with that trend, and that's really hurting the industry overall. So unless you really have someone who's very, very good at G-code, kind of old school programming is what we would call it, you're gonna have more headaches than what that advanced machine is really gonna give you at the end of the day.
What about the popularity of advanced systems?
It's been hugely popular. Everyone wants to basically get your part inside of a machine, hit the green button, and bring out a done part. So these advanced machines that are definitely made for that type of atmosphere where you're just running it all day long, the same part over and over and over. The CAM systems just aren't keeping up with that kind of a demand as far as being able to think outside of the box a little bit, excuse me, on how to program it and how it should interact with itself. It's been a major problem for a lot of years.
Where are you working now, and what are you doing for them?
So I currently work at SolidCAM USA. I'm on a specialized team for advanced mill turns and Swiss type machines. I'm going to be going on site with customers, showing them the product, showing them the solutions to their parts that they need. You know, I really am looking forward to the challenge and the task that's in front of me, which is making sure that, you know, we get ourselves out there as a solid solution for a lot of problems that are in the industry.
Does that include advanced machine installs and
yes.
working with customers?
Absolutely. So I will definitely be on the floor with customers, helping them with their product, making sure that their code is right, making sure that the setup is right, making sure that the machine has been set up correctly.
Well, I wish you luck with that. Excellent. So you're using SolidCAM now. Please tell us a few words about how fast you learned SolidCAM. A lot of it on your own?
So I did learn a lot on my own. We do have a great team that helped me with some various questions that I had along the way. Because SolidCAM's integrated into SolidWorks, and I've been using SolidWorks for years, that was definitely a help in the transition. And we also have a great website with a lot of great information. We have a couple of great YouTube channels with tons of great information. And I was able to learn the system relatively quick within the matter of a couple of weeks. I am confident in what I do, and I'm confident in the product. I'm confident in SolidCAM and our team that we've built. And I'm very comfortable with you know, navigating the system, especially if you have someone that already knows a little bit about SolidWorks. That's a huge advantage. Or Autodesk Inventor, also, we are integrated with them as well. So if you're using Inventor or you're using SolidWorks, you know, you've already got a step ahead of anybody who's just coming into wanting to learn SolidCAM.
So Eric, I bet you like working on your own.
I do. I enjoy kind of taking it upon myself to learn new things. Definitely always researching the industry and what's happening, what's going on. We do have a lot of tools that help me along the way, especially our website and our YouTube channels. But we also have a really great SolidCAM forum that you can go and kind of get kind of a behind-the-scenes look of what's going on in SolidCAM, what our competitors are doing, all the new products that are coming out, all the new you know, if people are finding problems, we address them on there. It's a very, very good community, not only to our staff, but also our end users, and it's fantastic.
Does the integration with SolidWorks and Autodesk Inventor really offer programmers any real benefit?
It's a huge benefit in a lot of ways. Not only is it a benefit because the user interface is the same as what they're already used to, but also down the line, as people in the industry know that your product is going to change depending on, you know, what's fitment and things like that. So as you revise your SolidCAM or I'm sorry, your SolidWorks or your Inventor file, that automatically will update your SolidCAM file to that new revision level, or if something changes a dimension or something, it's automatically there. I really do think it gives operators and programmers and users a huge benefit being integrated into something that they're probably already using. the CAD side of CAM packages is always very infant. They give you enough to get by, but never enough to really kind of have the best of both worlds. And I think that's where we really separate ourselves in the industry, is being partnered with those CAD companies. We let them be good at the CAD because that's what they do, and we are good at the CAM because that's what we do. So it definitely makes it it's a huge benefit across the board.
Can you mention any of the weak points of other CAM programming software that you have used?
I've put more hours in Esprit than anything else, and they definitely have their downfall. When it comes to geometry selection is a huge headache. Changing the machine around is a huge headache. It could be 2 or 3 hours just to do something as simple as change a chuck, so that way when you look at your simulation, it's correct to what you have on your floor. Their team is very, I would say, straight line when it comes to they build the machine models for you and that's what you get. They do not like making custom machines. They do not like making custom posts. And a lot of that is a problem in the industry. It was definitely surprising making the switch to SolidCAM, how they've taken those problems that other CAM packages have and they've already addressed them behind the scenes, so you don't even realize what you had to go through versus what you go through now. It's a huge change for sure.
Complicated UIs?
The UIs in Mastercam, I would say in Esprit, especially Esprit, is very, very complicated to use. A lot of their strategies don't make a lot of sense the first couple times you use them until you really have used it and know what it does and how it reacts. It's very confusing. It did take me several years before I really got comfortable in the system. So it's definitely very complex compared to what it should be.
For me anyway, it really seems like a steep learning curve.
Oh,
Do you agree?
Absolutely, absolutely. Very, very steep learning curve. Like I said, it took me several years to get even comfortable enough to where I could do a project and know that it was going to be somewhat close when I got to the machine.
How about stock updates?
Stock updates in Esprit are probably one of the more painful things, and in other CAM softwares as well. Typically it involves doing a simulation, saving that stock in the simulation, and then bringing that stock back into your actual program or your part file, and then using it for the next operation that you may have to do. It does not do automatic rest material. It does not do automatic anything. I mean, it's you do a cut, you wait for that cut to calculate for a really long time, you simulate that cut, which can take a really long time, and then you save that file, bring it back in, and then as you program your next cut, you use that file for your target, and then from there, instead of cutting things that have already been done, it will use what you have and move forward. Whereas in SolidCAM, it's automatic. I mean, it is literally as close to as automatic as you can get. It knows what you've already cut. It will come in and clip corners out for you. It will create channels for you. It will rest machine for you. I was blown away by it the first time that I opened it and then started working through a file, because it's just truly incredible. It saved hours of work. I mean, truly hours of work every single time.
Wow. I tell you what, how about multi-channel sync?
So that's probably where most of the CAM packages have their biggest issue, is multi-channel machines that require one side and the other side to be synced together. Esprit was probably one of the better ones at it, but it was still a very painful process to go in and get it to where it would actually output things the way that you needed them to be. And in SolidCAM, it is just, it's almost revolutionary the way that they thought about how they need to handle these multi-channel machines. They've made it very easy. It's literally just a couple of clicks of the mouse and you have everything synced to where you want it. If you want to change it around, it's literally just drag and drop. If you need to just output one side or output the other, it's very, very, very easy. I really think that's probably what's going to set us apart over some of the other CAM packages that are out there that you know we have already spent so much time developing things kind of behind the scenes that people just aren't aware that we have or that we're good at. And once they see it, I think it's really going to be a big hit on the market for sure.
We've gone over so much material. How about MCOs? Did you mention that?
I have not. So that was one thing that I would argue with my reseller of Esprit a lot. I wanted to be able to have a cycle that was built into my software where I could just say, right here's where I want that cycle, and I don't want to do any work. I've done this cycle 45 times, 50 times, 60 times. They were very against that. They basically just said, hey, we have a manual program option, type it in there. To me, that's just not the way to handle it, and SolidCAM has really done a fantastic job in that aspect of they will build you a custom cycle to where all you have to do is pick that cycle. Everything that is included in that cycle is automatically dropped into your project, and from there you just, all you have to do is click a button and you're done. It's excellent.
We've come a long way, haven't we?
Oh, it is. We have come a long way for sure.
What are some challenges in selecting the features you want to cut?
So in Esprit, that's probably another huge headache for a lot of users. They do have an automatic feature recognition. I never used it because it usually got very confusing and it would put things where you didn't necessarily want them. It would be, several hours usually, just smashing your own geometry where you wanted it and then double checking that where it put it was where it needed to be. If your model was wrong, you would have to start over. You would have to actually export that model back into whatever you drew it, make any changes, bring it back into Esprit, start all over. Very time consuming, very irritating. Mastercam, kind of similar. You could import directly from any CAD software company, and you could program directly on their solid models. But what I found truly amazing about SolidCAM is when you bring that file in, it's automatically parsing your model and giving you a wireframe. And 95% of my work anyway in turning an advanced mill turn, all you really need is that wireframe, that outside profile. Anything that you're going to add to it is going to have to be slightly modified anyway. But just giving you a good starting point is fantastic. I was blown away by that when I first did my first project, and it automatically just gave me lines that were correct right where I needed them. It was fantastic.
What would you tell folks who are in the market for CAM software?
I would definitely tell folks to watch out for SolidCAM. We're definitely going to make a wave in the industry, and I think a lot of people are going to see that, with our open source posts and us being willing to back you and help you along the way, that we're definitely we're going to give a solution for every style and type of machine that there is on the market, and we're going to give a solution that works, and we're going to do it fast, and we are going to be with you 100% of the way.
Where's the technical team located?
So our technical team is located around the world. We have people everywhere. Our U.S.-based customers are going to get a U.S. call center. They're going to get answers from people in the United States that are going to help them with their projects. It's every day we have a team of technicians that are helping customers with any problem that they come across and answering any questions, making any kind of modifications to their files, and they're doing that in a very timely manner, and they're definitely keeping the customer's needs in high demand.
How about the posts? Where are they created, and how long does it take to get them?
So our posts are created by a post team that we have here in the United States. We also do have an international team that are developing posts as well. So if we don't have something that's been developed, we can reach to our international team and just say, hey, have you guys seen this machine, or do you have something close that we can modify to work? And we're turning around posts very, very fast. Making a lot of modifications very, very fast, and we're definitely making sure that our customers are not at a standstill.
Are they locked?
No, our posts are 100% open source. They can be modified by anybody who has any kind of coding experience. If you want something technical added, we would be happy to help you with that. If you think that you have the skills and understanding to go in and modify that yourself, by all means, we love for you to be able to have that post for your machine the way you want it.
What other innovations have SolidCAM brought to the industry?
So SolidCAM has several patents on what we call eye machining, and what that is it's 2D and 3D toolpath that is incredibly intuitive. So eye machining is like having someone that's known more than any human can ever think about when it comes to machining. It's going to look at the machine capabilities, it's going to look at your tooling capabilities, as well as your material and the geometry that you're trying to cut, and it is going to calculate the best possible strategy for whatever pocket or face or whatever you're trying to do, and it is going to give you toolpath unlike anything I've seen from any other CAM software that I've ever used. It's truly an incredible feature.
I understand that that's the best. What does that offer the user?
Essentially just going to save you tons of cycle time and give you tons and tons of tool life. It's going to make you more efficient, and it's going to take less money and tooling for you to get there. It's really incredible. And then also we have a new tool table. The tool table is fantastic. It's going to allow users to bring in their tools, mount those tools with an STL model that they can get from any tool manufacturer, usually a direct download off the internet. You bring that in, you add it in, and then your machine is really going to show you in your simulation package a true depiction of what's going to happen inside that machine. We're really excited about both. iMachining's been on the market for quite some time. This new tool table will be released with 2021, and we're really excited about it. It's been about a 3-year development process, and it is truly incredible.
Where can our viewers get more information?
So definitely our website, solidcam.com. If they're interested in maybe dropping us a line to ask us any questions, we do have a great SolidCAM forum where anybody can join. They don't necessarily have to be a user, but it is our whole behind-the-scenes network of all of us at SolidCAM, as well as the owners on there, and quite active on there. And any questions that you may have, definitely drop us a line on there. That is where the customer is really going to come in and just give us their thoughts on what they see and what they think that we're doing well at, or maybe we're not doing so well at, and we take that very seriously. And if you just want to see a little bit about what we do and some of the projects that we work with, definitely check out our YouTube channels. And if you want to just learn a little bit more about the software, definitely follow KevCam University. He's fantastic at training people, and he does YouTube videos very, very frequently.
Well, there you go, folks. That's where you can go to get that great information. And Erik, you were an absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
Did you have fun today?
Absolutely. It's been
I
a
did
blast.
too.
It's been a blast.
I learned a lot. It was fun. Our viewers are going to have a great time with this. And that about wraps it up for today's edition of Lake News 22. I'm your host, Dave DeJohn, and we'll see you next time.